It's like, guys, this is going to be crazy. When I walk down Bromley High Street, it's going to be mayhem. Trust me on this. Security, we need lots of security.
You never been with a biker then?
Biker, no.
What am I gonna do with you?
Well, thanks so much for talking to me today. I loved Pillion. I loved the sort of romantic comedy elements that it had, which, as you can tell by looking at me, it was very up my street. But I also loved the kind of like wholly original and different direction it sort of took. So congratulations, it's such a phenomenal film. I know the two of you met quite late on in the process, just before filming. What was that meeting kind of like, and what were your sort of first impressions of each other?
Well, it was to rehearse the wrestling scene. And we met, we shook hands, and we literally got to it, you know. And in a way, it was the best way of sort of entering this relationship of Colin and Ray, and we just had fun. I mean, to be honest, that set the tone for the rest of the film for us. Really, it wasn't long conversations of backstory and who these people were. It was just jumping in and seeing what happened really in the moment, I guess.
Yeah, my first impression was he must moisturize. It's very soft. His skin was as we rehearsed a wrestling scene. And I was really impressed by how smooth and soft his skin was and firm.
That's quite a compliment. And I know Pillion first premiered at Cannes, where it won the screenwriting prize, but it also won the Palm Dog for Mutt moment. I don't know if you know about this. I mean, first and foremost, how proud are you of that?
Incredibly proud.
But secondly, what I love is the dogs, the Dachshund and the Rottweiler. They are kind of a reflection of your characters, right? So was there some discussion around that, and what was it kind of like working with the dogs? I know they're very briefly in the film, but
it was Harry's. It was in the script. It wasn't like so. It was a decision that Harry made, and like he said, it's a perfect articulation of their relationship. And the dogs were great. I mean, they had their moments, as dogs do.
Fucking divas.
But they were good on the whole, weren't they? I remember when we meet on the Christmas tree by there.
Yeah.
They had that's I think what they were at their worst. I think they're a bit tired and a bit sort of angsty. But apart from that, on the whole, they were quite.
Oh yeah, because we try to get them to socialize a bit.
Socialize and like say hello to each other, and then we had to sort of tie them up, but they weren't happy about being tied up. And Hippo, the little one was called Hippo, and Hippo got a bit anxious, I think, when we left and started barking and sort of causing anarchy. So yeah.
So maybe not a reflection of your character.
Well, no. I think Colin's far more.
Colin's not very barky.
And
Colin likes being tied up.
He likes being tied up.
And Pillion shot a lot on location in Bromley, and I know Harry, the director, used a lot of like guerrilla filmmaking. What was that like for you as actors? And you know, you're both quite recognisable faces. Was there any moments where you were being sort of stopped in public during a scene or anything like that?
Well, it definitely was quite dynamic. We would shoot it on Bromley High Street, middle of the day with all the shoppers, people running around. You know, it was definitely gave it some energy. We were running a lot in those scenes, so we kind of ran away from people.
We were, and I remember there were hidden cameras, weren't there? There was a hidden camera in a like a guitar amp at one point, just like there. And so you kind of had to guess where the cameras were in terms of like as we ran through. But to be honest, we weren't really bothered that much. I think, you know, because it was so disappointed.
I was like, guys, this is going to be crazy. When I walk down Bromley High Street, it's going to be mayhem. Trust me on this. Security, we need lots of security. And then no one paid attention to us.
No one turned up, yeah.
Maybe you're not well known in Bromley.
Maybe not.
And on Pillion, you guys worked with an intimacy coordinator, and I imagine you've worked with intimacy coordinators before. What do you think are some of the most common misconceptions of working with an intimacy coordinator?
Robbie, whom we worked with on Pillion, was it was so great having him there, because for me it wasn't about feeling comfortable with Harry or Harry Lighton, the director, or unsure about what we try to accomplish in those sex scenes, or having Robbie. Having Robbie was great because it was more for me about there's a narrative in those sex scenes. Like I often find sex scenes are quite boring on screen often because it's like there's lots of drama and tension and build up to the moment, like, oh, are they gonna jump into bed together? And once they're in bed, it's like, well, then the tension is almost like, then it's just like the drama is almost gone. But all these, if you take the orgy scene, for example, like, it's a big emotional journey for Colin. It's not just like an orgy scene, and like a lot happens emotionally in that scene. So Robbie was instrumental in shaping that scene, and how do we visually tell this story in a way that's compelling and interesting, where it's not graphic for the sake of just shocking, but you also don't shy away from it. So to find the right balance of, again, how much do you want to see? How graphic do you want this to be? And how do we shoot it in a way where we can tell this story? Like in this orgy scene, like what is happening to Colin emotionally? What does he go through in this moment? Or like the first time they have sex, and what? So I think it was really great having Robbie there to help us and help Harry tell that story.
Also from a practical point of view, just in terms of the blocking, you know, my arm goes there, if your arm goes, do you know what I mean? Just getting those things tight and making sure they're working for the camera. So from a practical point of view, Robbie was instrumental in just sort of mapping it out so that we could be free and tell the story. Because what was really exciting about it, like Alex said, was I feel the sex scenes really continued the narrative. It was so much a part of the film. It wasn't like a pause for a sexy moment. It was such a important beats of storytelling. And so Robbie was, again, just instrumental in refining that for us. It was brilliant.
And Harry Lighton, you mentioned the director. He's a first-time feature filmmaker. This is quite a low-budget indie. You've both obviously been in your fair share of high-profile productions, but what do you think is so valuable about working with new voices and in these sort of indie spaces?
I was really impressed by the screenplay. Not for a second did I hesitate or feel that it was a gamble to work with an inexperienced filmmaker. Harry again wrote the screenplay, and I was incredibly impressed by the quality of it and the way he approached this subculture with just the right amount of respect, not too much respect, because it's also like he does it in a very funny way where it feels awkward and it just doesn't feel like he's afraid of approaching the subject matter. He did it with confidence and curiosity, and to me it's just incredibly exciting to work with a young filmmaker who's so enthusiastic and so excited to tell this story. So I never hesitated to kind of jump on board.
Yeah, I mean, it was all there in the script. It really was. And so when you read something like that and know that this person's directing it, it makes you so confident with coming in and offering something that can hopefully honour what he's already got on the page. So, I mean, for acting that, it's just got to listen to Harry, and there was no sort of question mark over, he's inexperienced, how he's going to be on set, how is he going to communicate this. He just knew exactly what he wanted, and was also inviting us in to offer what we wanted to do with these characters at the same time. So it was a very happy set in lots of ways.
And there's also something quite exciting about being part of someone's first feature, because if it's a more seasoned director, you can watch his or her previous films and all right, I get the sense of how they tell stories, and it's quite thrilling to be like, this is the first time this person is directing something like this, and what is that going to be like? And again, it wasn't with any kind of nervous hesitation for my part, because I felt so confident in Harry's ability to do this, but you still don't know how his visual language, what that's going to look like. How is it going to be like, what's going to be like on set? Sometimes you work with the director before, or sometimes you have a friend who's worked with the director, and you can call like, hey, I'm thinking of doing this movie with this director. What was it like working with her or him on this project? And this is like, you have no idea. And there's something quite thrilling about that as well.
There's an energy to it, I guess. You know, exploring this thing for the first time, seeing how it's going to land is kind of exciting.
Yeah.
And if he goes on to be a big auteur, you can say, I was in the first one.
Yeah, you can jump on that train,
Well, thank you so much.
I made him. He's where he is because of me.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I really
Thank you
appreciate
very
it.
much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.